Welcome to the podcast for When the Curves Line Up for October 14th, 2023. Please see the article that includes diagrams of today's events on the website at whenthecurveslineup.com. Text by Jeffrey L. Hunt. In Chicago, sunrise occurs at 7:02 a.m. Central Daylight Time, followed by sunset at 6:11 p.m. Today, the moon's shadow races across the western hemisphere, first crossing the Oregon shoreline. The eastward-bound shadow moves across Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas before crossing the Gulf of Mexico to meet the Yucatan Peninsula. The track parallels the coast of Central America, crossing into South America at Colombia, then making a hard eastward turn across Brazil to meet the Atlantic Ocean. Sky watchers in the shadow's path see an annular or ring eclipse, today commonly known as a ring of fire eclipse. Such eclipses occur when the moon is near its most distant point from Earth, called apogee, so that the lunar disk is not large enough to fully cover the sun. The eclipse occurs about 3½ days after the moon is at this far point. At the eclipse's peak, a ring, or annulus of light surrounds the moon. Sky watchers outside the main shadow experience a partial eclipse, depending on their distance from the main shadow. For sky watchers in Chicago, the moon covers 54% of the sun, while 85% is covered from Phoenix. The best way to observe the eclipse is by projecting the sun through a telescope or binocular to a screen. Another way is to use a small hole, such as one poked through aluminum foil. When sunlight passes through the aperture, it makes an image of the eclipse on a white screen. Overlapping leaves on a tree create natural pinholes projecting many eclipse images on the ground beneath the tree. This eclipse is a precursor to the April 8, 2024, total solar eclipse that is visible across a large swath of North America. Historical weather is not promising for a clear day, although April 8, 2023, was clear across a large part of the eclipse path at eclipse time. Next year's eclipse occurs less than 1 day after the moon is at perigee, the closest point to Earth. The moon is large enough to fully cover the solar disk to reveal the sun's corona. Here is today's planet forecast. In the morning sky, 2 bright planets put on a show in the sky before daybreak on this eclipse morning. 1 hour before sunrise, brilliant Venus is over 30 degrees above the east-southeast horizon, 4.9 degrees below Regulus, Leo's brightest star. The morning star continues its eastward trek in front of the distant stars. Venus' eastward change is easy to see from morning to morning. The planet is approaching Rho Leonis. Look at the scene with a binocular. Venus, Regulus, and Rho snugly fit into the same binocular field of view. Rho Leonis is 2.3 degrees to the lower left of the planet. Venus passes the dimmer star in 2 mornings. Farther westward at this hour, bright Jupiter is about 30 degrees above the western horizon. The Jovian giant continues to retrograde in front of Aries, 12.5 degrees to the left of Hammel, Aries' brightest star, 11.2 degrees to the upper right of Menkar, Cetus Nostral, and over 18 degrees below the Pleiades star cluster, part of Taurus. Jupiter is slowly approaching an imaginary line from Hammel to Menkar. It lines up with the 2 stars on the 28th. Technically, Mercury is in the morning sky, but it rises only 22 minutes before the sun. It is not easily visible. In the evening sky, Mars is not visible, setting 28 minutes after the sun, and like Mercury, is lost in the sun's glare. It reaches solar conjunction November 17th. The third bright planet is Saturn, although it is not as dazzling as Venus or Jupiter. An hour after sundown, the ringed wonder is nearly 30 degrees up in the southeastern sky. It is retrograding in front of Aquarius, 7.0 degrees to the left of Deneb Algedi, Capricornus tail. During the night as the wheel of the sky turns westward, Saturn is south over 3 hours after sundown. It sets in the west-southwest over 4 hours before daybreak and before Venus rises. Jupiter rises 58 minutes after sunset, and it is theoretically visible an hour after sunset when sky watchers look for Saturn. An hour later, the Jovian giant is over 10 degrees up in the eastern sky. As the calendar day ends, the planet is over halfway up in the east-southeast. By tomorrow morning, it is again in the western sky. Thank you for listening. Please read the articles at whenthecurveslineup.com.